up, y'all? Hey, it is your girl Tay coming at you again with another review of the hit series This Is Us, which is on Hulu. I will be reviewing episode 5 of season 5, so stay tuned. So this episode starts off opening with a flashback of the parents. They are, just tired. They is dog tired, okay? Because one of their children is crying hysterically, and they have been taking turns to go tend to him and have gotten 2 hours or less of sleep. And so we find out, guess who the child is? Kevin. Which, it comes to no surprise that Kevin would be the one out of the bunch to keep his parents up all night because he wants to be a spoiled baby and cry. And after that, we cut to Kevin meeting his love interest in his new movie, Glass Eye, which is a woman named Ava. And so he's really excited to meet her. And here's the thing, though. So once the director comes in, he completely ignores Kevin and strictly only pays any attention and gives greeting to Ava. Kevin is a glass door at this point because he doesn't say anything to them. Anything. And I'm just like, oh, Kevin's ego is hurt. It's hurt because he's not used to that. The director, he's a little stick up. Because as Kevin is speaking, he will say terms like movie, and the director will correct him in this really matter of fact, a little bit of stuck up, you don't know what you're talking about way, saying it's not a movie, it's a film. Okay, dude. But I also do get a vibe of, is this director thinking what I'm thinking? As far as Kevin just being this privileged white boy who hasn't had to work too hard for anything in his life? Because that's the vibe I be getting. Kate and Toby, they end up signing the adoption papers and agree on the name Chloe for their new adoptive baby girl. Oh, so I was just really happy to see this scene. After that, we get to Randall, who reveals that he will be mentoring Malik for the day, and Randall is so annoying sometimes. He's replacing all of the first letters of words with G, saying Gandal and Ganda, and it's just oh my gosh, this really must be a part of his corny dad persona because he's doing a great job at it. But anyway, I really do believe that Malik only chose Randall because, that's his girlfriend's dad. That we cut back to Kevin and Ava rehearsing, and the director is continuously cutting Kevin every time he progresses further into the script, saying start over. But here's the thing, of course directors are gonna cut you. They gonna yell cut, but he's not giving any specific directions. It's like he is intentionally messing with him because he's saying cut and start over, but he's not saying exactly what needs to be fixed. So I was just I was a little confused here. Then we cut back to both Malik and Randall. Malik is shadowing for Randall. This man falls asleep. He falls asleep during one of his meetings. I'm like, this is not a good look. This is not a good look. Now you really look like you only chose him because that is your girlfriend's dad. Okay? And so he ends up actually getting a really important job, which was to do the bulletin. So I'm like, okay, you were making big moves today. But he fails at doing so because his mother ends up calling about his baby girl, his daughter. She is, crying hysterically because she is teething. And so he is on daddy duty right now. He got to handle his baby girl first before he do anything else. So he actually ends up missing his cue. So after Randall gets done talking, this man, he's like, okay, well, I can relax and unwind. But baby, let me tell you something, because I could see why Bella was trying to get freaky that night, because Randall got their bags. Okay. So then we end up going to another flashback, and we're really getting to the root of what has caused Kevin to be so complacent with his white male privilege and to not really work hard for things. And that is because of his mother really grooming him to be soft. But of course, with Kevin, again, I don't keep saying it, being a handsome white man in America who benefits from white privilege and patriarchy, he doesn't understand that. However, this also does explain why the director is so tough on him, because he's like, dude, come on now. Like, you, all of your career have been getting off of you being white, handsome man who is good at reading and reciting and remembering lines, but as far as being great, yeah, but you got a long ways to go for that one. We learned some interesting things about Ellie in this next scene. For one, now Kate, she does make a mistake and reveal the baby name while they are in the hospital getting a checkup on the baby. She calls her Chloe, and so they end up having a discussion about it outside. And basically, Ellie is like, well, listen, I don't want her to be named Chloe because it was some type of jealous chick in the 10th grade who was my man's lab partner saying all types of lies about me. And I don't like that. So that's just going to give me PTSD. Like, please don't name her Chloe. And we also learned that Ellie actually was really heavily considering having abortion, so much to the point where she went to the place but decided not to have one at the last minute. This scene is really important because it is foreshadowing and setting up for a couple of scenes ahead. We learn that the reason why Malik was falling asleep in the meetings was not because he thought that the work that Randall was doing was boring perhaps, but because he had to wake up around 4 or 5 in the morning to make sure that he had all of his baby girls' bottles and everything else situated, so that way when the morning came that he can get ready, she can be set for the day to be taken care of, and so he can handle business. And how he really is doing everything in spite of, and Randall informs him, he really gives him this gem that you don't need to do anything in spite of, but because of her, to make your dreams as a young black father, Philly native, as big as you want them to be. And then we learn that Malik, he is going to go to an Ivy League school because you know what? He gets all A's. Okay. He said, I'm going to be a daddy and still get all A's. Look, now, I wouldn't even get all A's and I ain't have no kids, shoot. He's going to go to Ivy League school. He's going to attend culinary arts school and open up his own restaurant. So this young man has very big dreams. It really just, it's the representation for me. So after the long day that Kevin had, he decides to call his sister Kate and vent. So they are both in the car and he begins to vent about how hard the director is being on him. And Kate is just like, okay, well, if you would just look back into your past, this is all leading up to a lesson that needs to be learned, which is why the writers implement flashbacks such as us learn about Kevin being coddled all of his life, because now it's really time for him to break out of that. And one thing I really didn't like, which is why I don't like Kevin, is when he downplayed the struggle that Randall had living and growing up in a white household and going to an all-white private school, saying, oh, it must have been hard going to an all-white private school. Yes, it was difficult. He really said it in an almost sarcastic way, which Kevin, you have no room to speak. You have no room to speak. You want to talk about how, oh, Randall was mom and dad's center of attention because he was black. No, that is because his performance in everything was always above average. He didn't settle because he was a benefit of patriarchy. We also learned something very important about Kate in this episode, which is that after she broke up with her, just terrible boyfriend. I don't know if you guys remember, but back in season 4, she was dating this really guy who was manipulative, abusive towards her, and we learned that she is pregnant, which is why she did not go on the family trip with her mother and her brothers, because she wanted to go get an abortion. That is the important nugget that was really a foreshadowing when Ellie explained that she almost got an abortion, and Kate blurted out that I am not judging. So one good thing that came from this is we got to see Randall with his shirt off, okay? Hey. And he actually ends up going viral. There are all type of memes about this man. So he ends up going viral because of it. My goodness. Of course, Randall. This is something you definitely would do, right? This episode was very significant because, for one, we get to really get an insight of the roots of what is causing Kevin to be so complacent in his white male privilege, and it's because of his mother, as well as Kate. We learned that Kate got an abortion when she was 18. Which may be causes to why she has so much difficulty having her first child and having difficulty having children in general. I am hoping that you all enjoyed this review episode. Let me know how you feel about episode 4, season 5 down below so we can discuss. See you in my next one.